Auburn, Kentucky, 1 o'clock on CBS. Let's go. Teed it up. It was great. Now, here's my thing. Auburn got the win 80-71. Norlander, if you're a Kentucky fan, though, you're putting an asterisk by this, right? Because you didn't get a healthy CATS cats in the jungle.
You didn't. Ty Washington went down with, if you've played pickup hoops for a significant portion of your life at some point throughout high school, into college, 20s, 30s, or whatever, you're probably going to suffer the kind of injury that Ty Washington suffered. You go up for a shot, you come down wrong, you land on someone's foot, it tweaks your ankle. It gives me pain to even look at him suffer that kind of ankle injury. Kentucky was leading when he went down, so Kentucky fans, they're going to cling to the fact that they were leading when he left, and there was the potential that they would have been able to win had he stayed in for the whole game. I don't think that would have happened, but obviously it could have. This was the only scheduled meeting between Auburn and Kentucky this season. So Kentucky, if it wants to get its revenge, is going to have to get it in the SEC tournament, which if that were to happen, and by the way, Oscar Sheboy said afterward, we want that. We think we're the better team. We want to see him again, and I love to hear that kind of stuff from a team's best player, and that's what Sheboy is for Kentucky there. If Auburn and Kentucky face off in the SEC tournament, you'll be there, Hartzell, right?
I will be there.
Where is it again? Tampa?
Yes, I'll be. It is at a place where they play NHL hockey. Amway Arena, maybe? Somewhere in Tampa.
Atrocious. But anyway, that could well have – it could. Peering down the road here, this would be about, I think, from 47 days from when we speak right now, maybe 48 days. Auburn versus Kentucky in the SEC tournament, be it in the semifinals or the championship game, could mean anything from Auburn playing for the number 1 overall seed to Auburn and or Kentucky playing for the 1-line period, or Kentucky maybe the difference between being on the 2 or the 3 line. There's a lot of things that if they were to meet again, that game could have some pretty high stakes. Kentucky is 15-4. Its losses against Duke on the opening night of the season at Champions Classic, at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame, oh, by the way, kind of coming along here. 12-6, has won like 8 of its past 9. Maybe Mike Bray's going to wind up having a tournament team, and that loss will not be as bad for Kentucky in March as it seemed when they took it in early December. The third loss came against LSU, an LSU team that, as of late, is not playing as well because it's dropped 3 in a row, but they're all reasonable losses, and now there's the loss at Auburn there. So Kentucky is still going to be in the conversation for a number 1 or number 2 seed, so long as it can get the job done, and we'll talk about this on the Thursday episode later this week. Kentucky's going to go to Kansas on Saturday for the annual Big 12 SEC matchup, and that will be at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. And Kentucky will need to win that game if it wants to have a shot at the number 1 seed. That's at least my opinion. As for Auburn fans, this is it, man. We are recording this Monday morning in advance of the AP Top 25 coming out. I'm telling you, Auburn's going to be the number 1 team in the country. It was barely not the number 1 team a week ago. It had more first-place votes than Gonzaga. Since then, Auburn beat Georgia by 23. What else is new? And, that's dog bites man, basically. And then Saturday with the 9-point win on national television, on the America's Most Watched Network. Games just feel bigger on CBS. Auburn gets the high-profile win. Big-time stuff there. 18-1, and they look better than anyone else in the country at this point. When you look at what the roster is, beyond Jabari Smith, who might be the number 1 pick and is a lock, unless a devastating injury happens. Obviously, we're not rooting for that, but I'm saying if he plays the rest of the season, Jabari Smith is going to be the first, second, or third pick in the NBA draft this year. Beyond him and beyond Walker Kessler, whose advancement and development since he left Carolina is stunning, you've got guys like Wendell Green Jr. and Katie Johnson, Zep Jasper, a really good defender. They've got so many good pieces. Oh, by the way, Alan Flanagan is now coming back into the rotation, starting games. He was the team's best player a season ago. He had Achilles surgery in the offseason. He's just coming into form. I wrote this 2 weeks ago on CBSSports.com. It's scary but true. Auburn's not even at its full form yet. It can still and probably will still get better. It's phenomenal. So, yes, good on the Tigers. They're a great story for the sport right now, and this is one of many reasons why I love college hoops, is that you get every single season you'll get a handful of stories that are unpredictable, and you'll have teams that are nationally relevant that don't often get there. College football, and this is nothing against the sport, but it doesn't tend to offer this as frequently. Yes, you get some great stories, but Cincinnati for getting to the Final Four, that was a huge story. Cincinnati had actually been good. Auburn has not been top 5 good in 20 years, man. They're the number 1 team in the sport right now. I think that's a really awesome thing for men's college hoops, and I expect by the time everyone is listening to this or watching on the Varsity channel on YouTube, that Auburn will be the number 1 team in the country. Gonzaga will be number 2, and Bruce Pearl will have earned that. Good times down there on the plains.
So, well said. Well said. Yeah, I'm not going to fight you on the college football argument because, yeah, it's the same 8 teams that are kind of, right, in the running every year. That's fine. Here's my thing on Auburn. You buy these guys. Like, it sounds like you buy these
them,
guys.
For sure. It's not like, ooh, this is like, I want to be clear about this. It's not this, ooh, this is a fun team right now. They look pretty cool. They got a number 1 pick. Like, we'll see what happens this March. No. I think that Auburn's going to lose games, but when we get to the NCAA tournament, aside from the people that might just kind of be like swinging in and they're like, oh, I'm not used to seeing Auburn on the 1 or 2 line. I'm not going to take them like as seriously as maybe 4 or 5 other teams. Don't include that group. They are going to be considered a top 4 national title contender no matter where they land on the overall seed hierarchy. If they're number 1 overall seed or if they're the best 2 seed or whatever, because of who they have and what they've been, yes, weigh in on Auburn, can win the national championship. A worse Auburn team made the Final Four in 2019 from the 5 line. So, yeah, I'm in. You're not? Are you selling?
Wow.
Hesitating?
Look, admittedly, Norlander, you have watched significantly more Auburn basketball than your boy. I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, yeah, they've got a nice road win at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else have you done away from home this year? Like, well, listen, I'm just saying it's still January. I did the math. We got inside of 7 weeks to go until Selection Sunday, until the bracket, right? The sheet. So, and we'll see. Like, here's the thing. The SEC, it's really good at the top, although I don't know how good. I mean, LSU's on a losing skid. You've already said Arkansas is not going to make the dance this year. Still can't believe that.
Went over the weekend against A&M. I might be wrong on that, but we'll see.
Okay, all right. So we're already walking it back. We're 3 shows in. We're already walking it back. I'm just saying, I'm looking at the remaining schedule. Like, I'd like to see Auburn get tested on the road. I'd like to see him go to Bud Walton. I'd like to see him go down to the Swamp. What do they call it? The O-Dome? Whatever. Florida. The bubble team. They'll be fighting for their lives at the end of February. They got to go to Tennessee. I need to see it on the road. Because, look, your colleague Gary Parrish was there. He was doing sidelines for CBS. That place is a madhouse. Like Auburn Arena, the Jungle, that place was upside down. I mean, there are a few environments like that in college basketball. So shout out to Bruce Pearl because he's built it. Didn't used to be like that.
Yeah, without a doubt. Before we move on, I do want to – now, you bring up a good point. You're ahead of it as usual, Hartzell, because I can see a situation in which people then look back at Auburn's schedule. Let's say Auburn gets to the tournament. Let's just say as a 4-loss team. I still think they would have a chance to be in a 1 seed with 4 losses. But let's just say there's 4 losses no matter how they come. And then you look, they say, well, they only had to play Kentucky once. You look at the road games that they got, the breaks they had in the SEC. They did not have to go and play at LSU either, right? So they didn't have the toughest schedule within the SEC overall. Maybe there'll be some skepticism there. I will say this, and again, this is how it depends on how the quadrants break down. Right now, as we speak, Monday, January 24th, Auburn's record against Quad 1 and Quad 2 teams, the best teams on its schedule, regardless of venue, home, neutral court, away, is 10-1. That's the best record in the country. The only other team with 10 Quad 1 and Quad 2 wins combined is Wisconsin, which has a 10-3 Quad 1 and 2 record. So now they could be the devil's a little bit in the details with that because like Auburn's 5-1 in Quad 1, 5-0 in Quad 2, and when you look at the teams that qualify for those quadrants and the situations they're in, it's understandable. Like you can have a road game against St. Louis, Quad 1 level, but St. Louis is not necessarily a tournament team, though it's top 70 in Ken Palm right now. Stuff like that, right? Ole Miss playing at them doesn't really impress a lot of people, but it's a Quad 2 win. So just keep that kind of stuff in mind. But I hear what you're saying. I am way in on this team, and I don't know if college basketball will get another first-time champion. We've had like 6 of them in the past 20 years, maybe 7 of them in the past 20 years. Again, that's something that college football hasn't offered us in God knows how long. But Auburn will be on the short list of teams right there with the likes of Gonzaga that could potentially be a first-time national champion in 2022.
Yeah, very good. I'm here for it. A very impressive performance, even though Jabari Smith. Look, I'm not a lottery or an NBA draft guru or scout by any stretch. Yo, man, shoot the ball, man. Like, just the guy took 4 shots in the first half, man. Jack it up. Let's go. Come on, man. Put on a
That's
show.
what makes him dangerous, man. He does not need to do that. He will go and get his if he needs to. But I know. I hear you.
Yo, Jabari, go get yours, son. Come on, let's go. Flex on these dudes. But yeah, Auburn, nice win, 80-71 over Kentucky. That was the game of the weekend. We talked about it on our Thursday show. It delivered. I mean, Kentucky had the lead at halftime. They had some injuries. Auburn came roaring back and got the dub.